There are moments in life when everything shifts, not over decades, not even over years, but in hours. Sometimes all it takes is one conversation, one decision, one intentional action to redirect your entire future. You don't have to wait for a new year, a new season, or a perfect opportunity. You can decide today that in just 3 focused hours, you'll take steps that will create a ripple effect for the rest of your life. Your breakthrough doesn't have to be far away. It can start in the next 180 minutes. Everything great in life starts with a decision. Before you lift a finger, before you open the notebook, before you make the first call, there's a moment when you have to draw a line in the sand and say, this is it. This is the day I stop thinking about it and start doing it. Most people miss their moment of change because they never truly decide. They wish for change. They hope for change. They talk about change. But wishing, hoping, and talking will never move you forward until you turn them into a decision. That decision is not a half-hearted choice. It's not something you casually make while scrolling your phone or daydreaming. A real decision comes with weight. It's a declaration to yourself that no matter what happens, you will see this through. It means closing the door to other options. It means saying goodbye to a plan B and fully stepping into a plan A. When you decide before you begin, you're telling yourself and the world that quitting is not an option. Think about the difference between someone who decides to climb a mountain and someone who's just trying to climb. The one who decides has already reached the summit in their mind. They've pictured themselves standing at the top. They've made peace with the fact that there will be moments when they're tired, moments when they want to turn back, moments when it feels impossible. But they've chosen before they ever take the first step that they will not stop until they're there. That's the kind of resolve you need for your next 3 hours. Without a decision, you'll find yourself negotiating with yourself when it gets hard. You'll start saying, maybe I could do this tomorrow. Maybe this isn't the right time. Maybe this isn't worth it. That inner negotiation is what kills progress. But when you've already decided, there's no negotiation, only execution. You've taken the emotion out of the choice. You've locked in the course. Your mind is set and your heart is anchored. Sometimes we think that big life change takes years of preparation. But often, it's one strong decision that sets everything else in motion. It's like flipping a switch in your spirit. Before that switch is flipped, the room is dark. You can't see the way forward. You're unsure. But the moment you decide, the light comes on. You see the next step. You feel the energy rise. You realize that what was holding you back was never the lack of time or resources. It was the lack of a firm, final decision. When you decide before you begin, you're also telling distractions that they no longer have a seat at your table. Distractions thrive on indecision. They slip in when you're unsure, offering you easier options, tempting you with comfort zones, pulling you away from your focus. But when your decision is set in stone, you can look distractions in the eye and say, not today. I've already made up mine. There's a kind of peace that comes with deciding in advance. It's not that the journey gets easier, it's that your mind gets quieter. You're no longer wasting energy wondering if you should keep going. You've already answered that question. You can use all your strength for the work instead of the debate. That mental clarity is priceless, especially when you're working in a short, powerful window like these 3 hours. Sometimes we delay deciding because we're afraid of what happens if we fail. But here's the truth. Failing is never the worst thing that can happen. The worst thing is never starting. A decision is an act of courage. It's saying, I'd rather try and learn than sit back and wonder what might have been. And the beautiful thing is, once you make that decision, you'll often find that the universe seems to align. Opportunities appear. The right people show up. Resources you didn't know you had become available. It's as if the moment you commit, life starts rearranging itself to support you. That's why deciding before you begin is so powerful. You're creating momentum before you've even taken the first physical step. You're telling your brain, your heart, and even your surroundings that this is happening. You're giving a command to your entire being. We're going forward. No turning back. So before you start your 3 hours, pause. Don't rush in with half your heart. Take a deep breath. Say it out loud if you need to. This is my moment. I will give everything I have for the next 3 hours. I will not waste this time. I will see it through. Let that decision settle into you until it feels unshakable. Once it's in place, the rest is just action. You'll be amazed at what you can accomplish when you've already decided to win before the clock even starts ticking. If you want 3 hours to change your life, you can't treat those hours like ordinary time. You can't let them be scattered, distracted, or interrupted. This is not the moment to do 5. This is the moment to do one thing with everything you have. Focus is the magnifying glass that turns sunlight into fire. Without it, energy is scattered. With it, you can burn through barriers that once felt impossible. We live in a world that's constantly pulling on our attention. Notifications pop up, emails arrive, messages buzz, thoughts wander. Most people never tap into the deepest levels of their ability because they've never given themselves uninterrupted time. But when you give your full mind to a single task, something incredible happens. You enter a state of flow. Hours feel like minutes. Ideas connect effortlessly. What seemed complicated suddenly looks simple. Think about a laser beam. The light inside that beam isn't stronger than ordinary light. It's just more focused. That's why it can cut through steel while a regular bulb can barely light a room. The same is true for your potential. You already have the talent, the strength, creativity. What you need is to concentrate it. Focus is what takes ordinary effort and turns it into extraordinary results. But here's the truth. Focus doesn't just happen. You have to create it. You have to set the conditions so your mind can lock in. That might mean turning off your phone completely. It might mean shutting the door, finding a quiet space, or putting on noise-canceling headphones. It might mean letting people know you're unavailable for the next 3 hours because you're working on something that matters. This isn't about being rude. It's about being responsible with your time. When you focus, you're telling yourself that what you're doing matters enough to give it your full attention. You're also sending a signal to your brain. This is important. Bring me your best. And the brain responds. When you lock in, your mind begins to work more efficiently. You recall information faster. You make better decisions. You see the big picture and the small details at the same time. But here's something most people don't realize. Focus is not just about blocking out distractions on the outside. It's also about calming distractions on the inside. You can be in a quiet room and still be unfocused because your thoughts are racing. Worries, to-do lists, and random memories can pull your attention away just as much as a loud noise. That's why before you begin, it helps to take a moment to clear your head. Write down anything that's trying to compete for your attention so your mind can let it go for now. The more mental space you free up, the more power you have to give to the task in front of you. Focus also requires discipline. In those 3 hours, you'll be tempted to drift. Check something unrelated, start something else, respond to a notification. Every time you say no to that temptation, you strengthen your ability to concentrate. You train your brain that this is the priority, and it learns to stay on track longer. That discipline doesn't just help you in the moment. It builds a habit. that will serve you for the rest of your life. Another key to deep focus is knowing why you're doing what you're doing. If your mind understands the purpose, it's easier to keep your attention locked in. Remind yourself of the result you're aiming for. Picture how it will feel when you've finished these 3 hours and can look back, knowing you gave it everything. That vision becomes fuel. It's hard to be distracted when you're chasing something you truly value. Remember, you don't need to focus like this all day, every day. Well, that's the beauty of this. 3 hours of intense, uninterrupted focus can produce more progress than an entire week of scattered effort. But during those 3 hours, you have to protect your concentration like a priceless treasure. If someone interrupts, kindly but firmly set the boundary. If your mind tries to wander, gently pull it back. If you get stuck, take a quick breath and reset. Don't open another app. Don't switch tasks. Stay in the lane you chose until you reach the end. When you focus like never before, you'll surprise yourself. You'll finish in one morning what you've been putting off for months. You'll see that the limits you thought were holding you back were never about time or skill. They were about attention. And when you taste the power of true focus, you'll want to apply it again and again. Because if 3 hours can change your life once, imagine what could happen if you gave yourself that kind of concentrated effort every week. So when your 3 hours begin, let everything else fade away. Give the task in front of you the gift of your full presence. Because focus is more than just working hard. It's working with purpose, with clarity, with intensity. And when you do that, those 3 hours won't just pass. They'll leave a mark on your future. The first hour of your 3 hours is the most valuable. It's when your mind is freshest, your energy is highest, and your determination is at its peak. That's why what you choose to do first matters more than you think. If you want to change your life in 3 hours, you must start with the hardest thing. The hardest thing is usually the one you've been avoiding. It's the phone call you've been putting off, the document you've been dreading, the problem you've been hoping will solve itself. It's that heavy task sitting in the corner of your mind, weighing you down every time you think about it. You know it's important, but it feels uncomfortable, intimidating, or just plain exhausting. And because of that, we often push it to the end of the list, telling ourselves we'll warm up with easier things first. But here's the problem. If you save the hardest thing for last, you'll almost never get to it. By the time you reach it, your energy will be drained. Your willpower will be weaker. You'll find new excuses to push it to another day. And before you know it, weeks or even months pass while that one thing still sits undone, stealing your focus and confidence. Starting with the hardest thing flips that script. It forces you to use your best energy on your biggest challenge. When you tackle it first, you're telling yourself, I'm not afraid of the mountain. I'm climbing it right now. And once you've conquered it, everything else in your day feels lighter. There's a psychological boost that comes with doing the hardest thing first. It's called the win effect. When you start your time with a big win, your brain releases dopamine, the chemical of motivation and reward. That rush of momentum makes you want to keep going. But suddenly, the next task doesn't feel, the next challenge doesn't feel as intimidating. You've already proven to yourself that you can handle the toughest part. Think of it like lifting weights. If you pick up the heaviest weight first, the lighter ones afterward feel effortless. In the same way, when you face your biggest challenge at the start, the rest of your 3 hours will feel easier, more manageable, and even enjoyable. This principle is especially important because the hardest thing is usually the most valuable. It's the thing that, once done, will move your life forward the fastest. The easy tasks might feel productive in the moment, but they often don't change much in the long run. The hardest thing, however, usually unlocks opportunities solves major problems, or breaks through barriers that have been holding you back. Starting with the hardest thing also builds courage. Every time you do it, you're training yourself to run toward challenge instead of away from it. You're rewiring your brain to see difficulty not as an invitation. Over time, this habit can make you unstoppable. Because while others are still circling around their fears, you're already on the other side reaping the rewards. Of course, starting with the hardest thing doesn't mean it will always feel good in the moment. You might feel resistance, you might feel discomfort, but remember, discomfort is not a signal to stop. It's proof you're working on something that matters. The things that change our lives are rarely easy at the start, but they are always worth it in the end. If the hardest thing feels overwhelming, break it down. You don't have to finish the entire mountain in one go. You just have to take the first step. Once you start, momentum will carry you further than you think. Often, the fear of the task is greater than the task itself, but you won't know that until you begin. So when your 3 hours start, resist the temptation to check the easy things off your list first. Don't warm up with busy work. Instead, ask yourself, what's the one thing I've been avoiding that would make the biggest difference if I finished it today? That's where you begin. By the time you've conquered that hardest thing, you'll not only feel lighter, you'll have freed up mental space that's been cluttered with worry. You'll walk into the rest of your day with confidence, knowing you've already won the biggest battle. And that, more than anything, will make the remaining hours of your life feel unstoppable. Excuses are the silent thieves of your future. They don't storm in loudly. They slip in quietly, disguised as reasonable thoughts, logical delays, and convincing reasons why you can't start right now. Sound like, I'm too tired. I don't have everything I need. I'll be more ready tomorrow. This isn't the right time. And if you're not careful, they'll talk you out of your destiny before you even take the first step. When you only have 3 hours to change your life, there is no room for excuses. You have to remove them before they even have a chance to speak. That means making a decision right here, right now. For the next 180 minutes, you will not entertain a single reason why you can't give your best. You won't bargain with yourself. You won't say, just 5 more minutes. You won't put it off for a more perfect moment. Because here's the truth. The perfect moment doesn't exist. If you keep waiting for it, you'll wait forever. Excuses are comfortable. They let you feel safe while keeping you stuck. They're the voice that says, it's okay not to try, because you might fail. But excuses don't protect you from failure. They protect you from progress. Every time you accept an excuse, accept staying exactly where you are. Think about how much time has already been lost to excuses. Think of the projects that never got finished, the goals that were never reached, the dreams that were never lived. Not because they were impossible, because excuses won the argument. The dangerous thing about excuses is that they sound true in the moment. They fit the mood. They match your feelings, but feelings change and truth remains. The truth is, you are capable of more than your excuses are telling you. Removing excuses starts with calling them what they are. They are not facts. They are not destiny. They are not final. They are simply permission slips you write yourself to avoid discomfort. And if you can write them, you can tear them up. The next step is replacing excuses with reasons. Every time your mind gives you a reason why you can't, answer back with a reason why you must. I'm tired. Right arrow, yes. But this matters more than my comfort. I don't know where to start. Right arrow, yes, but I'll figure it out as I go. Afraid of failing. Right arrow, yes, but I'm more afraid of staying the same. When you replace excuses with reasons, You shift your focus from what's holding you back to what's pulling you forward. That mental shift can be the difference between 3 wasted hours and 3 hours that change everything. Removing excuses also means removing escape routes. Don't give yourself an easy way out. If your phone distracts you, turn it off completely. If you're tempted to stop when things get hard, decide in advance that stopping isn't an option. You work better in a certain environment. Get yourself there before you begin. Preparation is not just about having tools. It's about removing temptation. You also have to realize that excuses often show up as self-pity. That voice that says, I've already been through so much, I deserve a break. And while rest is important, self-pity, disguised as self-care, will rob you of momentum. The best way to care for yourself is to keep your promises to yourself. Because every time you keep a promise, your confidence grows. And every time you break one, your belief in yourself shrinks. The truth is, excuses will always be available. There will always be a reason why today isn't the day. But there's also always a reason why today is the day. And the reason is simple. Time doesn't stop. Every hour you delay is an hour you never get back. If you want to change your life, you can't keep giving away the hours that could transform it. So in these 3 hours, decide to be relentless. Decide that you will not be moved by tiredness, fear, or inconvenience. Decide that no excuse will outrun your determination. And when that little voice shows up, telling you to stop, smile and say, not today. Today I'm building my future. Because once you remove excuses, you remove limits. And when limits are gone, there's nothing left but possibility. These 3 hours are not just about crossing something off your list. They're about building a future. The danger is we can get so locked into the small steps, the tiny details, that we forget the bigger picture. We forget why we started in the first place. If you want these hours to change your life forever, you have to think bigger while you work. Thinking bigger is not about ignoring the small tasks. It's about connecting them to something greater. It's reminding yourself that this email you're writing could open the door to a new opportunity. This skill you're learning could shape your career. This plan you're creating could impact people you've never even met. You're not just working for the sake of working, you're planting seeds that could grow into something far beyond what you see right now. When you work with a small mindset, you approach tasks with minimal energy. You do just enough to get by. You settle for a good enough. But when you think bigger, you pour more into your work because you understand what's at stake. You're not just doing this for today. You're doing it for the version of yourself you want to become. Thinking bigger also changes the way you solve problems. A small mindset sees obstacles as reasons to stop. A big mindset sees them as challenges to outthink and outlast. When you keep your eyes on the greater vision, setbacks don't intimidate you as much because you know they're temporary. Stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, how can I use this to get where I'm going? One of the most powerful things about thinking bigger is that it pulls more out of you than you thought you had. You start to stretch, you dig deeper, you try things that feel uncomfortable because you know they're necessary to reach your larger vision, and in that stretching you grow. But here's where most people miss it. They only think big when they're dreaming or planning, not when they're working. They set a huge goal, but when it's time to take action, they shrink their vision to match their current circumstance. Yep. They forget the excitement of what's possible and get lost in the grind. The key is to keep your big vision in front of you while you're working. That might mean literally keeping a picture on your desk of what you're aiming for. It might mean writing your goal on a sticky note and putting it where you'll see it every few minutes. It might mean starting your 3 hours with a moment of visualization, closing your eyes and imagining what it will feel like when your vision becomes reality. When you think bigger while you work, you stop asking, how fast can I finish this? And start asking, how well can I do this so it moves me closer to my vision? Speed is important, but excellence is what builds lasting results. If you rush through just to be done, you might complete the task but miss the chance to make it exceptional. Thinking bigger also changes how you value these 3 hours. You believe your actions in this short window can create a ripple effect for years to come. You'll treat the time like gold. You won't waste it on busy work. You won't fill it with half-hearted effort. You'll guard it, respect it, and give it your full energy. And here's something remarkable. When you think bigger, the work becomes more enjoyable. Why? Because you're not just stuck in the have-to of the moment. You're living in the get-to of your purpose. You're not just scrubbing the floor. You're preparing the foundation for a palace. You're not just making a call. You're opening a door to your destiny. Purpose turns even the most ordinary task into something meaningful. The truth is, your life will always grow to the size of your thinking. If you think small, you'll act small, and your results will stay small. But if you think big, consistently, deliberately, even while doing the smallest action, you'll start to attract opportunities, ideas, and breakthroughs that match that bigger vision. So as you work in these 3 hours, lift your eyes from the task every so often and remember where it's leading. Picture the moment you're living the life you've dreamed of, knowing it was shaped in windows of time just like this one. Let that vision fuel your effort, sharpen your focus. You're building a future that's bigger than you can imagine right now. When the clock runs out and your 3 hours are done, don't just shut the notebook, close the laptop, or stand up from the desk and walk away as if nothing happened. Those hours were not ordered. They were intentional, focused, and life-shaping. If you want them to keep producing results long after the time has passed, you have to seal them. And the 2 keys to sealing your progress are gratitude and action. First, gratitude. Gratitude is the anchor that holds your progress in place. When you pause to be thankful for what you've just accomplished, you lock that moment into your heart and mind. It's easy to finish a block of work and immediately start thinking about what you didn't do, what you still have to do, or how far you still are from your ultimate goal. But gratitude shifts your focus to what's already been achieved, no matter how small it seems. Take a moment to reflect. You showed up. You fought through distractions. You overcame excuses. You poured yourself into something that matters. That alone is worth acknowledging. Gratitude turns those 3 hours into a gift you give yourself, not just a task you completed. Being thankful also multiplies what you've accomplished. There's a spiritual principle that says what you appreciate grows. When you show gratitude for progress, you're more likely to notice it. Without gratitude, you risk forgetting how far you've come. And when you forget, you lose motivation to keep moving forward. Gratitude doesn't have to be complicated. You can speak it out loud. Thank you for the focus, the energy, and the opportunity I had today. You can write it down, capturing the specific wins from those hours. Or you can simply sit for a moment to breathe and let yourself feel the satisfaction of showing up for your own future. Gratitude alone isn't enough. You also have to take immediate action. Why? Because the momentum you create in those 3 hours is at its peak right when the clock stops. If you walk away and do nothing, that momentum can fade. But if you act on it right away, you extend its power into the rest of your day, week, and life. Action doesn't have to be big. It just has to be next. If you spent those hours working on a proposal, send it out before you leave. If you planned a new project, schedule the first meeting or order the materials. If you learn something new, share it with someone who needs it. The key is to take what you did and connect it to the next step while your energy is still high. Think of it like striking a match. The flame is brightest right after you light it. You can start a fire. If you just watch it burn, it will go out in seconds. Your 3 hours are that flame. Use them to ignite something bigger before they cool down. Sealing your progress with action also sends a signal to yourself. I'm serious about this. Too many people work hard but never follow through. They leave their progress sitting in a file, in a notebook, or in their mind, and then wonder why nothing changes. Action turns ideas into results. Without it, even the best 3 hours can become just another forgotten effort. And here's something powerful. Gratitude and action together create a cycle. Gratitude keeps you encouraged. Action keeps you advancing. Gratitude makes you appreciate the moment. Action makes you multiply. One without the other is incomplete. Together, they turn a short burst of effort into lasting change. So when your 3 hours come to an end, don't just stop. Seal it. Take a moment to give thanks for the strength you had, the clarity you gained, and the progress you made. Then ask yourself, what is the very next thing I can do to keep this moving? And do it. Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't wait until you will feel ready. The time to keep the fire burning is now. If you live this way, ending every intentional block of time with gratitude and action, you'll find that change isn't something that happens far off in the future. It's something that happens every time you show up, work with purpose, and carry the results forward. Because 3 hours may seem small compared to the span of a lifetime, but if you treat them with gratitude and follow them with action, they can set in motion a chain of events that truly changes your life forever. 3 hours. That's all it takes to begin rewriting your story. Not a lifetime. Huh? Not a decade. Not even a year. Just 3 intentional, focused, excuse-free hours can start a chain reaction that will echo into your future. You've learned that it starts with a decision, an unshakable commitment that you will show up and give your best. You've seen the power of focus, how locking in with all your energy turns ordinary progress. You've understood why the hardest thing must come first, because courage at the start builds confidence for the rest. You've been reminded to remove every excuse, to shut the door on every reason that would keep you from your purpose. You've learned to think bigger while you work, so your effort is tied to your vision, not just your checklist. And finally, you've discovered the power of sealing your progress with gratitude and action, so those 3 hours don't fade. They keep producing results long after the clock stops. Now it's your turn. The time you need is already in your hands. It's not hidden in some distant season. It's here right now. Don't wait for the perfect day. Don't wait for every condition to be right. Take the hours you have, give them your best, and watch what happens. Because here's the truth. If you can give 3 hours today with total commitment, you can do it again and again. Each time you'll move closer to the life you've been dreaming about. Each time you'll prove to yourself that change isn't as far away as it feels. So make the decision. Shut out the distractions. Do the hard thing first. Refuse every excuse. Think bigger than you've ever thought. And when you're done, seal it with gratitude and action. 3 hours can change your life forever. And your forever starts